Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Luthais Dev Blog 3. And yes, I've received hundreds of messages for you guys asking me to test the puppet system and tell you guys if it's fixed. I'm glad the rest of the community has made a bunch of videos on it, giving their individual feedback. So I'm glad we're getting together as a community. I just want to start by saying that the first Luthais Dev blog was me thanking the developers to give us something to be passionate about. So yeah, I don't want people to send hate messages to the developers. The video that I made that said this is not funny anymore, all the comments had frustration in it, just like I was frustrated, but there was a reason for the frustration because we love the game so much. Okay, so if it wasn't for the developers, we wouldn't have anything to love. So it doesn't help us screaming at them. It doesn't help us sending very, very negative comments towards them. We need to get behind them, and I think they've heard us in that video that I made. Okay, they're aware of it. Right after that video, they addressed it to the community. So please, let's just not lower ourselves to a place where we do not want to be. Okay, and just support them. They know what we have a problem with. It's not a secret anymore. The ball's in their court. Okay, now that we've got that out of the way, is the puppet system fixed? Short answer, no. The puppet system is not fixed. The puppet system is easier. And personally, that's what I've got the biggest problem with. Like, the reason that I have 5 servers is so that people that have been playing Scum for years, people that have supported Scum for years, and people that have become experienced with the game need a bigger challenge. So every one of us that's been playing Scum for more than 1,000 hours or 5,000 hours, or a bunch of people in my community, want or appreciate the servers with higher puppet numbers. So they want to play on a server that looks like the trailers. Okay, all the Scum trailers showcase a puppet threat level that does not exist on official settings. Now, I've always been, I don't remember when's the last time I've enjoyed playing on official settings, except if it's a pure PvP server. But the reason I have 5 servers is that there's different difficulty levels and choices for everyone. So I'm giving my player base choices. But since the encounter system, there isn't a big difference between my servers anymore because I've had to nerve them. I've had to lower the puppet numbers because the encounter system was so broken. So, have they worked on the high threat zones? Yes. But at the same time, where you used to go into a police station and 10 puppets used to jump out at you, or 8, there's 3 puppets in a police station. Okay? So when I walk into a town, I don't see puppets, and if I walk past bushes, I hear a puppet. And what I don't understand about this, again, I'm going to speak respectfully towards the developers. You brought out the encounter system to challenge people more, so that they can't go into a bunker with just a bow. So they can't they can't finish the end game content, that we have at the moment, that they can't just go in there on day one. Okay? That was your purpose, to add a bigger threat level with hordes, with puppets. Like everything you explained about the encounter system was about high and low threat levels, was about hordes, was about them jumping through windows, was about them opening up doors to make it more exciting. And you said, be ready. You can't just go in there with nothing. Be ready. The high threat levels are dangerous. You can't just go in there with nothing. And when you started the encounter system with 0.9, yes, the puppets just did pop out of the ground, and then you added the bushes to the airfield. But you haven't changed that. Like, the puppets popped out of the ground. You fixed that. The puppets aren't popping out of the ground anymore. Okay, they're like teleporting in, but they're not popping out of the ground. But because they were popping out of the ground, you added all the bushes to the airfield, and you let the puppets spawn inside of trees and inside of bushes to hide the popping effect. But you haven't changed that. That's what I don't understand. The puppets are still spawning in the bushes and in the trees while they are not popping out of the ground anymore. I don't understand why you're not rolling back the decisions you made to cover up the mistakes or the errors. You know, like when they popped out of the ground, nobody liked that. And then you hid it by adding bushes and stuff like that. But the puppets never spawn inside of trees. They never spawn inside of bushes. Like, if you walked into a town, you saw the puppets. It's part of the threat level. It's part of the excitement. You know, so either you don't see a puppet or you hear it in a tree or in a bush. And the puppet system isn't better, it's easier. And I'll show this to you now while I walk into, I've got the Montana character here. I've got a basic bow which you can craft from the start. I've got a metal sword, and I've just activated God mode so I can open up this door, so that I can go into the most dangerous area in the game. With a crafted sword, which you can get in 30 minutes, crafted bow, which you can get in 10 minutes, you know, and that's about it. And then, of course, you can go look for a abandoned bunker that is open. You know, just get a screwdriver or hack the door, whatever the case would be. So this is the most dangerous area in the game. But when I play on official settings now, the threat level is way lower than when it was. So I see lower puppet numbers. Do the puppets take longer to respawn? Yes. But it's not improved. It's nerfed. And the reason you make trailers and you spawn in a ton of puppets is because you know that's what people want in a survival game. They do not want to walk into a town with 3 puppets in it. Or they don't want to walk into a town with no puppets in it and a few hiding in bushes, and then walk into a police station and there's 3 puppets in the police station. That is not a challenge. Anyone that watches my guides won't have a problem with that, you know, and every one of your players that have stuck with you or are supporting you and is experienced in Scum don't want to play on those settings. So, you know, you've added like health meters, but again, you're testing everything on official settings. So 3 puppets with 10 times the amount of health they started with, that's not fun. Okay? It's not fun having 3 sponges, which you have to put 100 arrows into. If you like gave us different puppet options that we can increase certain puppets' health, that we can, you know, have certain puppets be identified as tanks, you know, that would be nice. If you could enable us to kill Brenner, which was the main poster boy for the abandoned bunker update, you know, if you can allow us to kill Brenner, that would be exciting. But I mean, that was your choice. Just don't believe there must be a thing that's unkillable. And I feel people will enjoy going into a bunker with guns blasting if they can kill Brenner. The fact that they can't kill Brenner causes them to walk out of the abandoned bunker, let him get stuck in front of the door, shoot him for his blood, stun him and take his blood. That's not immersive. That's not fun. It's not exciting. The fact that there's bumps when you bury a chest is not fun or realistic. It causes your players to put chests inside of trees or go, you know, you fixed that they couldn't put it in rivers. Your players are doing unrealistic things to adapt to what you're doing or what you're putting into the game. But the reason that we love the game is that a lot of what you've done is phenomenal. And a lot of the work that the other, that I don't know what dev team is part of what, but unfortunately, this encounter system is souring the effect. Like 80% of your game is wonderful. Your graphics are immersive. Your world is immersive. So I just feel the encounter system is putting a damper on other people's work. Like, I don't know if all of you are working on the encounter system. I don't know whose idea the encounter system was. I'm just saying that the encounter system is putting a negative effect on other aspects of the game that is wonderful. Okay? It's one thing. And the fact that you're getting so much feedback on this one thing must tell you how important it is. Okay? And I know you guys are working hard, but I mean, when you did the 0.8 update, took away everyone's vehicles and gave us 2 modular vehicles, you went on holiday for more than a month. And every single server owner was getting thousands of messages every single day about the cars that are stuck because we didn't have a nudge or a roll function. Okay? I don't know if I can't remember if you guys fixed it before you went on holiday. All I know is if it was a week of me helping people on my servers, it felt like 2 months. Okay? You guys know what that was like. Then 0.9 came out and we've got the encounter system that was completely broken. I just feel we need to get back to the basics. And what I mean by that is get the puppets out of the bushes. When 0.9 came out, they weren't in the bushes. They weren't in the trees. Just roll back. Just sit back a bit and look at the bigger picture. Okay, because you're making changes to cover things that people aren't happy with, and then you fix it, but you don't remember all the duct tape you put on the mistake before you fixed it, and you never remove the duct tape. And every player knows you added a bunch of bushes to hide the fact that the puppets are popping out of the ground. But I mean, they're not popping out of the ground anymore. So just roll back that system of them. Just let them spawn in the open again. Okay. Get back to basics. And if you say you're going to let the system work, I don't know. It took you 2 months. I think it took you about 2 months to make the small fix. And the small fix is just less puppets, in my opinion. Do the puppets take longer to respawn? Yes. Like you guys did a few things, but it took you 2 months. I don't know this for a fact. But if I was a betting man, I would bet that 1.0 comes out at the end of the year. I don't see you guys perfecting this encounter system to the end of the year. And again, I don't know who's in charge of the encounter system. But you know what I miss? You know what made me fall in love with Scum? Is when 0.3 came out, when the cars came out for the first time, they were terrible to drive. The handling was terrible. And, I was just like, how can a car be put into a game when it handles this badly? And then at 0.5, okay, I tested every single update. And at 0.5, the cars handled perfectly. And I loved the driving. But I remember, as soon as I fell in love with your vehicles and the handling and how realistic it is, like your cars don't drive like an arcade game. Your cars drive better than most racing games. And it's those things, whoever worked on that, those guys that work on that makes your game shine to a point where nobody wants to not play your game. The people that put in those efforts to make that, like if I drive a dirt bike, I'm having the time of my life. Whatever car I'm driving, I'm having the time of my life. I don't know why the raft is moving so fast. It never moved that fast. I don't know who can pedal a raft that fast. That's a bit unrealistic. Hopefully you guys fix it over time. But I mean, whoever does that, put a lot of love and effort and research into it and tested the vehicles and rode the vehicles 100 times or 1,000 times to make sure that every vehicle's handling is almost perfect. Is the sounds perfect? Maybe the sounds aren't perfect. But again, it's these little things in Scum that makes us fall in love with the game. And every PvE, every survival fan, not a PvE fan, not a PvP fan, every survival fan, every person that's in love with Scum remembers the threats in the forest. Every person remembers walking into a police station and still having a threat. Like, Meat Grinder is my personal server, my personal passion project, where none of the community has a say of what I do on that server. And my entire community knows that Meat Grinder is a special server. And with the old puppet system, everything was difficult on that server. You couldn't enter a bunker with a bow and a crafted sword with the old system. Even if I put the multiplier to 100, I knew what I was doing. And you are focusing on server performance, and that's another thing that I don't understand, because maybe you've got 100 official servers, but you've got almost 6,000 private servers. You've given us a setting of how many things to allow, how many puppets and players and whatever. Like, you had a puppet count, and now we've got the other, let me check what you call it. Like, I can control this. You worrying about server performance. I want complete control over my server. Max allowed characters. I can control this. So what I'm telling you is, if my server is full, it doesn't matter if the puppets are spawning the old way or the new way. At some point, I will reach this limit of 128 characters on my server. And in the past, with the old system, I put it to 300 puppets, and I saw the performance dip. And I took it to 250, and I took it to 200, and I took it to 150, and 150 was the borderline for me, between performance and enjoyment. But I've got control over how many things I allow on my server. So I don't understand why the encounter system helps with server performance, probably the way they teleport in and teleport out. But what I'm telling you is, nobody ever had a problem with the old encounter system. We loved walking into a church and dying. Like on Meat Grinder, when I walked into a church and the puppets stood up from behind the chairs, I died a lot. Everywhere I went, there was a threat of dying. And I enjoyed it. Every time I died, I knew what I did wrong. I never blamed the puppets. The only reason your passionate community was talking about puppets is because they were spawning inside the ground underneath police stations. They were coming through the concrete underneath police stations. They were glitching through walls. When they're in their sleep mode, they just walk through everything. That's the only thing we had a problem with. So, if from my side, I truly believe that you must bring back the old system if you can. If you can't, then you can't. If you can't let puppets jump through windows and open doors with the old system, then, I don't know anything about programming. But if you can bring back the old system and then just add the horde system to it, so the puppets spawn normally, and when they call a horde, the horde still teleports in from nowhere, okay? If you can do that, you can give us back what we love about the puppets. Okay, we want danger everywhere. And the reason you brought in the encounter system was for the threat, the high threat level. Now, I am now on a ×3 multiplier, okay? I'm not willing to do this on a ×1 multiplier because I'm going to fall asleep. I'm literally going to fall asleep if I do this on a ×1 multiplier, okay? And this character, I don't think this character has stealth. No, he's got no stealth, okay? But there were no puppets outside. That's the thing. It's not only there's no puppets in the forest, there's no puppets outside. And there's very minimal puppet threat inside now. So your whole reason for bringing in the encounter system is two things: server performance and threat level. so that a guy with a bow can't enter the most dangerous place in the game. But the whole reasoning for bringing the encounter system is gone now, because private server owners can control the amount of puppets that are on their server. They can control the server performance. We never had a problem with controlling server performance. The people that complained to you about server performance didn't know how to run a server and didn't do enough research, okay? You know that I can control what my server performs like with the amount of vehicles that I add, with the amount of puppets that I add, blah, blah, blah. I've got full control over that. So the encounter system doesn't help my server performance. Maybe it helps a little bit, you know, that the server doesn't poop itself after it's got 40 people on. But you understand what I'm saying? Your original idea for the encounter system isn't that important when it comes to server performance. Immersion, even if it is important for server performance, immersion is way more important. Happy players are way more important than fitting more people into a server. Because if 1.0 releases at the end of the year and the encounter system is still not right, it's difficult to fill up a server like that. But with the old system, I can fill up my servers. And I can let the servers perform well. And then your second reason was the threat level. You know, you want it to be dangerous. I don't even have an archery skill yet. Like, this guy literally doesn't have any bow skill. He literally doesn't have any bow skill. Now I can go through the entire bunker. I'm going to shoot the razors I'm going to shoot the razors in the back of in their backs. I can clear this bunker like this. And then, you know, give me a few screwdrivers, I can loot the entire place. So your threat purpose for the encounter system, your high threat areas on official settings are nullified. They don't exist. And if you've got legitimate reasons, if you've got like it's impossible to go back, then sure, tell us it's impossible to go back. But if you want to die on that mountain, you're probably not going to die. Because I don't know what you have to do for me not to love this game. All I know is that you're hurting the player base with this encounter system. And you're taking away, just like you took away all the cars, you're taking something away. You're taking a piece away, a very big piece. The puppets are a very big piece. Like, if you compare the two vehicles that you gave us that couldn't be nudged and got stuck every 2 seconds, compared to this encounter system, the encounter system is worse because most of us loved the old system. I loved being scared when I walked into a church. I loved being scared when I walked into a police station. And with the old system, I could put enough puppets in here so that nobody can walk in here with a bow. So I had no problem making a server more dangerous. This encounter system, you are not, and you proved me right, because I said you're not testing this with increased puppet settings, and you even admitted that on the patch notes. Okay? And I knew that, because no one can test this system on a ×5 or a ×3 multiplier and think that it works, or think that they can bring it into the game. Just like nobody can add 2 modular vehicles to the game just before the holidays and think that it works. Okay? It's unnecessary. So close to the full 1.0 release. It is unnecessary. I don't know who wants to die on that mountain, but whoever is saying we are not letting this encounter system go is going to hurt this game in a massive way when 1.0 comes out. Okay? And again, I don't know how you're going to make it work. You're letting them spawn in, you're not letting them spawn in when you get to the police station door. You're letting them spawn in further away. But again, there are no puppets. When you walk into the big city, there are no puppets. When you go to the gun shop, you don't see any puppet, and all of a sudden you see 2 puppets inside of a tree. and another puppet inside of a bush. That's not what we fell in love with. So guys, is the puppet system fixed? No. Is it easier? Yes. Did they make a few tweaks to it? Yes. Is this going to hurt the game if the game comes out in 1.0 at the end of the year, which I believe it will? Me personally, it's my opinion. Yes, it will hurt the game in a massive way. Can they get the game to look like the trailer with this encounter system? And it be immersive? No. Do we all miss the old system? Yes. The people that don't miss the old system wasn't here when the old system, the new players, they don't know what the old system is. So of course they can't complain, or they don't know what they're missing. I'm sure there's people that didn't even know about all the vehicles that we had. They will never miss the police SUV because they never drove the police SUV. So I understand that the people that are complaining are the people that have been here from the start. Even if we weren't making videos every day, even if we weren't giving you the amount of exposure we're giving you now, but we've been here from the start. We saw the potential from the start. I loved your game from 0.1. I was just committed to another game, but I still saw the potential. Just like I'm seeing No Rest for the Wicked's potential now, and I'm covering No Rest for the Wicked. I'm still committed to Scum. But I'm going to make a few videos of No Rest for the Wicked because I want to help people that think outside the box, that gives players a special, unique experience. Now, No Rest for the Wicked is a special, unique experience, and Scum is my best special, unique experience. But this encounter system is, for me personally, a bigger mistake than removing all the vehicles, giving us 2 modular cars that we can't nudge or move in 0.8. I know you guys know 0.8 was bad when it came out. I'm telling you, this is worse. If you look at how many players you've lost, and I'm not going to talk about why the numbers look so high. Okay, I don't care what other people say about it. You know what I'm talking about, and I know what I'm talking about. You have lost a big part of the American and European player base. And they all want to come back. And you, with this encounter system, you are risking that when 1.0 releases, you don't reach those targets that you want to reach. You don't make the money you want to make. Jagex doesn't make the money that they want to make. Everyone is going to be hurt. Please remember the dream you had for this game. Stop thinking about performance and think about your players and immersion. You didn't bring a metabolism system into the game with performance in mind. You wanted to create something unique. You had a dream. Please remember the dream. And you've made a lot of changes to patch up the mistakes. Remove those patches. Bring the puppets back to the open. Get the entire team together and make a decision that will work. Don't let one guy, say, we're going to send a cell phone to the moon, and everyone looks at him and goes like, we don't know how we're going to send a cell phone to the moon. If the entire team thinks this encounter system is going to work, then stick to the encounter system. But if not us, the dev team, if the entire development team says they don't see this encounter system working, please don't let go of the dream. We all want to see this game succeed, and we all love Scum. But that's it from me, guys. Hope you have a wonderful day. I'm going to keep playing Scum. And hopefully our message is heard. Later.